Hey, hey, hey. Happy Thursday. Thursday, it's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch, I think, is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. It is Thanksgiving week here in the U.S. It is Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. This is live stream 1261. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then normally I will take a first look at a game. More often than not, it is a tabletop role-playing game release, such as tonight's show shall be. Every once in a while, I'll unbox a board game, maybe talk about a topic related to our hobby, or maybe even just chew the fat with the chat. But tonight, we're going to dive on in. We're going to take a look at the Genzacon Adventure Bundle Special Edition from Gooey Cube. There are 4 adventures contained within 4 5e Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to dive on in and take a peek at this in just a bit. I got to say, this is another one of those boxes that's about 9 pounds. It's not quite as heavy as that Darkened Haven box set that we looked at a couple of weeks ago, but it's still pretty bulky, pretty hefty there. So that means it is jam-packed with goodness. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then, of course, because this is a live show, there is chat available. You must be a subscriber to the channel for at least an hour before you can take part in chat. But if you check off that box and you want to say howdy, maybe got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Mike. Cthulhu's with us, as is Agile Monk, Semper Buffo, Spelling Mistake, and Kevin R. Smith. And I did want to mention, everybody's got, well, not everybody, but some people have the kind of screwed up usernames for chat. I remember how to fix it because every few years this happens. So you need to go into your YouTube settings. So not from Google, you go from YouTube, go into your settings, and I'm trying to remember, I think it might be located under General, and that's where it'll show your YouTube name, and you can change it. Now, as far as I've seen, mine just continues to just show it's the Gaming Gang, so I don't have any numbers or anything like that after my nickname. But that is how you fix it, is you go in, and if that's not exactly correct, just do a search, change YouTube name. It'll tell you how to do it. But I'm pretty sure it's just under general settings. I personally didn't take a peek because I don't have to change it. So there is that. All right. Also, should mention, I would not be surprised if the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D is also with us tonight, one of our chat moderators. lurking in the shadows with a glittery banhammer. How about them bears? Yes, I know they're going to move into a rather difficult portion of the schedule now. So probably won't be as we're not going to be crowing. I don't think. Well, Bears could probably squeak into the playoffs, but I don't know. I don't know. But hey, right now 8-3, I'll take it. No need to apologize for having a winning season. So Troy Cornelson's with us, says they're a Steelers guy. Don't talk about it. I didn't mention the game. I'm just mentioning, the Bears record. That's all. J-Man 1911 is with us, otherwise known as J-Man. Let's dive on into the news, because now available in print and PDF is Two Sides of the Coin from Osprey Games. I've got the Skinny, a role-playing game of teamwork and treachery where the need to cooperate is second only to achieving your own ulterior motives. Think you know role-playing? Think again. Welcome to Two Sides to the Coin, a cooperative role-playing game with only one winner. Designed for one-shot games or short, linked stories, Two Sides to the Coin throws players into tense situations, from high-stakes heists and murder investigations to deep space rescue missions and peace negotiations between warring nations. Players will have to work together to achieve a shared objective, but must also strive to achieve their own personal goals: individual gain, revenge, perhaps even outright sabotage. While teamwork and cooperation will be vital in achieving the overall goal, manipulation, misdirection, and deceit will be needed in order to come out ahead. With a variety of scenarios that can be run straight away, as well as advice for narrators looking to create new scenarios in varied settings, Two Sides to the Coin offers a novel role-playing experience focused on role-playing rather than dice rolling. Work together to achieve your common goal, but don't forget to achieve your own ulterior motives along the way by any means necessary. The 128-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $25. If you want to grab the PDF or the Moby EPUB, you can do so for $17.50. Thought this sounded kind of interesting, although I got to be honest, the sell sheet portion where it says, "You think you know role-playing games? Think again," or whatever. It's like, all right, back it up a little bit. It's like when you run across some role-playing game that's like claiming to reinvent the genre, and it's like, now you're a role-playing game like many others. The Madman is with us, as is Higzilla. So welcome to you both. The Madman's also our other chat moderator. So very nice. Moonrise Long next month is going to see the hardcover release of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Lords of Stone and Steel. I've got the latest from Cubicle 7 Games. A guide to the Empire of the Dwarfs and the hold of Carrick Norn. Many of the dwarfs' ancient holds have been pillaged by orcs and goblins, or infested by the foul Skaven. Skaven, they don't exist. What are you talking about? That's figment of your imagination. Those that endure are scattered throughout the mountainsides, bordering the old world and stretching into lands beyond. Several outposts are dug into the Grey Mountains. Chief among them is Carrick Norn, famed for its cannon foundries, cunning merchants. I have a cunning plan, me lord. Lively taverns and redoubtable elite garrison, the Peak Guard. Mighty as the remaining holds are, enemies continue to assault them. Adventurers may find opportunity here. The rewards for those who help defend what remains of the dwarf realm may be rich, but they pale in comparison to the loot that lies amongst its ruins. It includes a guide to the Carrick Encore, the everlasting realm of the dwarves. Several important dwarf patrons, including Thorgrim Grudgebearer, Ungrim Iron Fist, And Go Trek Gurnison. New time events and endeavors. Ideas for theming adventures suiting dwarves. This includes discussion of relations with neighboring nations and rival holds, both friendly and hostile, and how the dwarf devotion to honoring oaths and extracting revenge might lead to new adventures and dangerous complications. Rules for fighting in underground combat. The war party of Blistrock's Blight, a band of Skaven from Clan Morbidius, whose plans to infect dwarf outposts in the Grey Mountains is being complicated by, I should say, internal. I almost said internal. By internal divisions, as well as a detailed guide to the hold of Carrick Norm. Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Lords of Stone and Steel does require the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay core rulebook in order to play. The 96-page hardcover with PDF is going to carry an MSRP of $39.99. You'll get the PDF if you order from Cubicle 7 Games. It is slated to arrive in early December. Rumor has it December 10th, but I'm not positive. I've seen conflicting information, so I'll just say early December. Now, the PDF is actually available right now. It is over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Agile Monk says they reinvented a few genres last night. Kevin R. Smith says, everything's the most innovative thing ever. You know, the only thing that kind of, I don't want to say irks me. I just hate to see it. Along with the, we're reinventing the wheel here. But look, it's a wheel. Is when some game company, it's usually board games, you see this, where it says, easy to learn, difficult to master, or words along those lines. And it's like, okay. Yeah. Simple to learn, near impossible to master. Yeah, okay. All right, so let's talk about saving you some money, because there is a new collection of role-playing games which has been gathered for this year's cornucopia over at Bundle of Holding. And I've got the deets on the deal. Adventure! In time for the American Thanksgiving holiday, Bundle of Holding presents this all-new Cornucopia 2025, the 13th annual feast of top-quality tabletop role-playing game PDFs. For just $12.95, you'll get all 3 complete games in the starter collection, which has a retail value of $55, as DRM-free PDFs. You'll get Doom Song from Caesar Inc. Doomed guild members struggle with purity, temptation, and heresy in a medieval plaguescape of restless dead and traitor gods. Punk is Dead from Critical Kit. In the post-apocalyptic ununited kingdom, desperate people keep moving forward by clinging to their last passion, music. Hope, anger, and hardcore performances, musical performances, that is, in a divided world inspired by Mjorkbjorg. I just want to irritate the people out there who can't stand the way I pronounce Mjorkbjorg. I think that's how it's really supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be Mjorkbjorg. But even the designers of the game don't pronounce it that way. So there you go. And of course, we also have Sentience. You're a newly awakened android fighting for survival and freedom in a world that doesn't even acknowledge your existence. A game about liberation, underground resistance, newfound emotion, and what it means to be something other than human. And if you pay more than the current threshold price of $28.26, You'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 4 more games worth an additional $95, including Break RPG from Grey Wizard Press and Naldobin Games, a D20 friendly fantasy role-playing game inspired by anime, manga, and classic Japanese role-playing games like Zelda, Ni no Kuni, Illusion of Gaia, and Phantasy Star 4. Sentai and Sensibility from Ninth Level Games. As gentlefolk in an alternate British Regency, you and your rangers pilot giant mecha to defend society from the Syndicate's kaiju, while also seeking a suitable spouse. Then we also have Tartarus Gate from Rebellion Unplugged. As an unpaid intern on a long-haul cargo spacecraft, you wake from deep sleep to an infestation of zombies, if that's what they are. Gory and gonzo deep space horror from the designers of Spire and Heart includes the Tartarus Gate Digital Assets Pack. Then finally, there's Tidal Blades from Monty Cook Games. The gorgeous alien archipelago of Naviri faces growing threats from beyond the fold, the failing seawall that holds back massive sea monsters. It's a cipher system adventure inspired by the board game Tidal Blades Heroes of the Reef. All these savings will run through December 10th. Yay! I kind of surprised that we do not have any Humble Bundle. There's no new Humble Bundle. We still have the Last Call for Lankmar, which of course is the Dungeon Crawl Classics Lankmar series, which I did order. I did take advantage of that bundle. I bit the bullet. I'm like, yeah, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Moving right along. Now available in print and PDF is the 50th issue of Populated Hexes Monthly from Third Kingdom Games. Here's what I know. Issue 50 continues a look at the Scarlet Principality with an overview of the 20 baronies and 17 estates that make it up. Each has an overall description and a plot hook designed to provide the referee something to build off of. The Populated Hexes Monthly series is written for old school essentials, but can easily be converted for use in virtually any old school Renaissance style game. Each issue examines a different hex that can be used by referees in need of an encounter location in different terrain types, as well as alternate rules designed to expand play options. The 33-page softcover with PDF can be had over at Drive-Thru RPG for $7.95. If you want to just score the PDF, you can certainly do so for only $2.95. And if you are someone who runs an OSR game, you like hex crawls, or the idea of a hex crawl appeals to you, you owe it to yourself to pick up some of the monthly Populated Hexes monthly releases. Now, they normally will collect the entire year in a single volume. So we will probably see, I think it's the 4th volume that would be coming very shortly. And I have shared coverage of some of the Populated Hexes monthly collections. I want to say it was year 1 that I shared. Cool stuff. Really cool stuff. Really well done. All right. So let's talk about our final news piece. Well, actually, before we'll say hello to Sean Mayer, who's joining us in chat. Welcome. Good to see you. All right. So the revised and expanded Labyrinth Lord has arrived in PDF. And here's the scoop from Goblinoid Games. Back to the basics of fantasy gaming. Enter a world filled with labyrinths, magic, and monsters. You take the role of a burglar, cleric, cyclops, brownie, dwarf, elf, fighter, hobfolk, or wizard on your quest for glory, treasure, and adventure. This is a complete role-playing game. All you need are a few sheets of paper and some dice. The Labyrinth Lord awaits your arrival. Can you survive the dangers of the labyrinth? This is revised and expanded, includes 2 new classes, more monsters, expanded play advice, as well as a new adventure by Polly Kidd. The 176-page PDF is out over at DriveThruRPG for $10. And I will admit, I'm actually utilizing images from the previous edition of Labyrinth Lord, because outside of the cover, I couldn't find any images I could use. But I'm sure that a lot of this is still the same. I reviewed Labyrinth Lord. I want to say it was the first edition that had come out. It was a fairly, well, I don't want to say fairly short. It was probably about 110 pages, hardcover. I liked it quite a bit. And I have always noticed over the years, there is a lot of third-party adventures that are designed specifically for Labyrinth Lord. Now, of course, they can be used with any OSR role-playing game, but they will state that they are for Labyrinth Lord. And it wasn't until old school essentials got popular that I started to see it kind of shift more to OSE than Labyrinth Lord. But I'll tell you what, I would love to take a peek at this. I really like the first edition, so I would absolutely love to see what's going on with this edition here. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Talking about DriveThruRPG, few things. Number one, of course, you probably already know this, especially if you watch all the time. The Gaming Gang, thus Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to swing over by DriveThruRPG, Storytellers Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, do me a favor, stop by thegaminggang.com first, click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up. Help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, the Black Friday sale has kicked off over at DriveThruRPG. This is the best sale of the year over at DriveThruRPG. Only one that comes close to being as good as this sale every year is the Christmas in July sale that they do. Normally, you can see savings up to 35% for Black Friday. Now, there will be actual Black Friday and Cyber Monday specials, which normally what you'll see are bundles. So you will see bundles of role-playing games that are packaged together, and you can save quite a chunk, sometimes over 80%. But for the most part, the vast majority, I mean, we're talking about tens of thousands of PDFs, are 35% off. And that will run through Cyber Monday. Very nice. Very nice. Of course, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. If you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just dig what we do, then there are a couple other ways that you can support the Gaming Gang outside of just utilizing the affiliate links for the One Bookshelf sites. First of all, you can make a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. That's good. Or become a monthly member of our Patreon. And of course, you'll find links down in the show notes regarding those. Also, down in the show notes, you'll find an invite link to our Discord server. It's absolutely free to sign up. So be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord. And during all my live shows, I always like to give a shout out to our Patreon members. And welcome to our newest Patreon member, Adrian Carpio. And then, of course, big thank you to Gustavo Cavalho, Herman Lutman, Jason Lawman, Caval, Kevin R. Smith, Sean O'Donnell, Talzek, Dan Webb, GameCat, Kevin King, Pete Straklich, RPG Munch, Tessie Trekkie, Tier 2 DM, Agile Monk, and the Madman. Thank you kindly, everybody. It is vastly appreciated. All right, we got some more people popping into chat. We got Reading Aid. Kathy Evans is with us, as is the Warwolf, who is saying, "Da Bears." Yay. Yeah, why not just break it out, right? This is the only show this week, just so you know. I'm sure many of you already realized that because you were watching last week and I mentioned it, but tonight is the only live stream. Now, there will be videos this week. This is just the only live stream because on Thursday we have Thanksgiving. And then, of course, tomorrow I'll be working on some stuff that I bring for Thanksgiving. Yes. So, you know, it is what it is. I have my own homemade items that I bring along, kind of a yearly tradition. All right. So we are going to dive on in and we're going to look at the Genzacon Adventure Bundle Special Edition from Gooey Cube in just a few moments. Did want to also mention, I am going to have another game sale. It's going to kick off on Black Friday. Fingers crossed I can knock it out in time. I don't know how big it's going to be because it's just a massive pain to keep pulling stuff out, take photos, go through the whole process all the time. There will be at least 50 items. I can guarantee that. What I am I shouldn't say am considering it. I am going to have the sale kickoff for our Patreon members first. So the first week of the sale, they will have dibs. So I am going to share the link on Patreon, but it'll be a members only post. So there will be that. And then the second week, I will open it up to people who subscribe to our Discord server. So I will have it there. And I will also have the sale page, like a private web page. So it's not going to show up when people pop in onto the website until the third week, because I'll run it 4 weeks. Third week, I'll just open it up to everybody. So that's how I'm going to approach it. I might have some things available only for the Patreon members and Discord members. And if those things don't sell prior to opening it up for the last 2 weeks, I will remove them from the sale. So there is that. I am going to include some board games in that. I think some of them are going to just like absolutely slash the prices on, just because they're just collecting dust. I mean, they don't get played. I'd prefer to have them find a home. I actually donated about 20. It was about 20 games I donated to the upcoming Polar Vortex 2026 in February for their auction, their charity auction. I might donate some more stuff. I don't know. But I figured, there's some board games that we still play on occasion. And there are others that, it's kind of like, I really would like to get it to the table at some point. So I'm going to hang on to those. But then there's plenty that I've reviewed, shared, coverage of, or just, happen to get great deals on. So I picked them up and then they just sat around collecting dust. So there's usually some pretty cool stuff. I know there are a few people in chat right now who have made some purchases during the game sales. And one of the things I always point out, I keep my stuff in pristine condition. And if there's like a ding or a dent, I let you know right up front. So anyway, so that is that. Outside of that, not a whole lot exciting. I had a wonderful nail go through the sidewall of a tire on my SUV. I was like, I just bought these tires in August, man. What the hell? And, the funny thing is, I lucked out because, the low pressure warning went off on the dash. And I thought, maybe it's the front driver's side because it looked a little low. So I filled it, looked around on the other tires, everything looked fine. I'm like, I guess that's probably it. Sensors still stayed on. I'm like, oh, don't tell me I got to change the sensor because, those batteries in those last, like 10 years, something like that. So anyway, this is the last Friday. I got to pick up, groceries, my weekly run to the grocery store over to Walmart and Aldi and dollar store, stuff like that. And somebody pulls up alongside me and they're like trying to flag me down. And I, brought the window down and they're like, man, your back tire is super low. I'm like, oh. So thankfully there was a gas station right there, pulled in. It was almost flat. So I was like, damn. So I looked up where the closest Bell Tire was, because that's where I had bought the tires in August. I bought them right before I went down to Genzacon. No, I take that back. It would have been July, been late July. So anyway, found it, filled up the tire, drove over. The tire still looked okay. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's just a slow leak or something. Maybe they can fix it. Womp, 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 womp. And then, of course, I did not have any sort of protection on the tires, which no one had even offered me when I bought them. I figured they had some sort of warranty on them, right? Nah. So anyway, yeah, that was fun. I was like, other than that, nothing too exciting going on. I think I've already talked about how we are going to be playing Tomb of Annihilation on Fantasy Grounds. I'm going to run it for Elliot, my brother Greg, my nephew Cameron, probably Cameron's girlfriend Kara will be part of it. Might have a couple of open seats. I don't know. I might have a couple of open seats. Only thing I would say is that I don't want to say real. One of the main reasons why I might not invite viewers to take part is that this is probably going to be a situation where we're going to play on Mondays from maybe about 6:30 Central to 9:30 Central, somewhere around that. But I can guarantee it's going to be one of these cases where, somebody can't show up, So I don't know if I necessarily would want to drag somebody into that. Is what I'm thinking. So there's that. All right. Anyway, hopefully everybody who is celebrating Thanksgiving is pretty much all ready for the day. So if you're traveling to go meet with family, be careful. Weather's going to start getting crappy. I know they're talking about we might get a bunch of snow starting on Friday. I had heard something like somebody had reported something like possibly 16 inches. And I'm thinking, how often we hear, we're going to get 12 inches. Then it's like 2 inches. So I'll believe it when I see it. Now, I'm not saying it can't happen, but rarely is the first major snow, because we had a little sprinkling of snow already. The first major snow of the season, like some big dump of snow on us. We'll see. The man says they're prepping dinner tomorrow night. Very nice. Very good. I gotta be honest, I don't even know what we're having for dinner. You know what? I think we are having turkey. I think this year it's turkey time, which I always like. I mean, I like ham. Don't get me wrong. Ham's really not, to me, Thanksgiving. If you're doing Thanksgiving, unless you hate turkey, you got to do turkey. It's my opinion. All righty. So we're going to dive on in. We're going to take a look at the Genzacon Adventure Bundle Special Edition in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
The magic of Christmas begins with J. Byron's Holiday Sale. You'll find great gift ideas at fabulous savings.
Oh, winter weight robes and lingerie, 25% off. Panties and Arrow dress shirts, just $13.99. And Lady Pepperella regular towels and washcloths are a holiday buy at 89 cents to $1.99.
The magic of Christmas begins with J. Byron's Holiday Sale.
It's time to go to J. Byron.
If you're searching for something for your little girls and boys, and you're finding high prices but not finding toys, and you're sad and you're blue, and you're tired running around, let Lionel play, well, turn that frown upside down. We've got collections, the prices too. Lionel play, what makes it easy for you? The prices and selection are among the best around. Let Lionel play, well, turn that frown upside down.
Back Road Chevrolet, South Florida's fastest growing volume dealer, sells for less. Camaros, Cavaliers, Chevettes, Corvettes, pickups, vans, Blazers, and more. And now is the time to save. It's Christmas in November at Lou Back Road Chevrolet. $800 in options for just $99. Yes, $800 in options for just $99 on 85 Chevrolet cars and trucks. On Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano. Lou Back Road Chevrolet, selling today for less.
Butterball presents
the spirits of the first turkey lovers.
Dost thou smell turkey?
Oh, 'tis beautiful.
Thou cannot judge turkey by the beauty of its skin.
Indeed, it could be dry.
But this is the Butterball turkey. Always plump and juicy because it's deep basted where hand basting can't reach.
Look how juicy.
Thou never served so juicy a bird.
Thou never brought home a butterball.
Butterball from Swift. 'Tis truly plump and juicy.
Watch out where you throw those knives. Are you drinking Wilkins Instant Coffee yet? No. Okay, let's try it blindfolded.
During holiday travel, some people get delirious. Some get delayed. And some get Del Griffin.
American Light and Fixture, Director of Sales, Shower Curtain Ring Division.
Neil Page got all three.
I was on my way home to spend a nice holiday with my family. Instead, I'm in a motel bed with a stranger.
So instead of Thanksgiving with his family, he's spending 3 days with the turkey.
Two happy clams just whistling down the road.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, and the Marconi family.
Paramount Pictures presents
Wilma!
Steve Martin.
Ever been to Hawaii?
Yeah.
You see that hoe while you were there?
See the second film, that's the best one.
Is that right?
Yeah.
John Candy.
Why are you holding my hand? Where's your other hand? Between two pillows. Those aren't pillows.
In a new film by John Hughes. Playing trains and automobiles.
See that Bears game last week? Yeah, hell of a game, hell of a game.
my absolute favorite Thanksgiving film. And it's funny, you said people argue with me all the time that it's like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. No, that's a Christmas movie. Steve Martin's trying to get home for Christmas. And it's like, no, Steve Martin is trying to get home for Thanksgiving. To the great city of Chicago. Yay. But yeah, love that movie. I'll probably bust it out maybe tomorrow night and watch it. Because it's one of those things that kind of watch every year, kind of annual sort of thing. Sort of like Lord of the Rings. That's right. Agile Monk says he wants to get to his Chicago turkey. Yes. And funny enough, I don't know if as many people realize it nowadays as when they came out. But the movie She's Having a Baby is also tied into that because Kevin Bacon is trying to get the same cab that Steve Martin is trying to get. So in She's Having a Baby, it's the whole trying to get the cab scene, but it's from Kevin Bacon's viewpoint. Yeah, Keith Lewis says, I always left my ass off at the part where they drive the wrong way on the freeway between the two semi-trucks. Yes, and John Candy turns into the devil for a second, and he's like, ah! Yep, there you go. Agile Monk says 6 Degrees to Kevin Bacon. I've played that. We used to play that all the time. I was good at it. I know a lot about movies. So, not that that matters. All right. Anyway, so tonight we're going to be diving on in and taking a look at the Genzacon Adventure Bundle Special Edition from Gooey Cube. This box set includes 4 adventures for 5e Dungeons and Dragons. Carries an MSRP of $150. Let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the special edition of the Genzacon Adventure Bundle. First thing I'll do is let's get rid of the shrink wrap here. I remember when we took a look at the Darkenhaven box set. It's so jam-packed with goodies that they actually had to put the adventure underneath. It slid in under here. It couldn't fit in the box. But that was pretty wild. All right. Let's take a look at the back here. I should point out that our friends over at Gooey Cube were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. And got to point out, neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this first look with you. It's important you know that. We're not going to look at everything that's in this box. We're going to take a peek at the adventures, but we're not going to take a look at each and every page of the adventures. And then, of course, they are adventures. So if you are a player and you know your Dungeon Master has picked these up or any of these adventures up because they are also available separately, got to keep in mind, there are going to be spoilers galore. So, Age of Adventures with us in chat says, oh, I thought this was a convention episode. I don't know how. Agile Monk says, we got 21 people watching, only 5 likes. What? Yeah, I know. What can I tell you? All right. So, one of the first things I noticed, I don't want to rip this. Font's pretty small here. So, plunge into an epic saga of intrigue and horror with the Genzacon Adventure Bundle. This box set contains 4 linked adventures that build from a citywide conspiracy to an apocalyptic threat. Shadows, darkness, terror, and madness in Genzacon. Each book comes packed with encounters, stat blocks, full color maps, illustrated handouts, and item cards to immerse your table in the unfolding crisis. The campaign begins with Shadows in Genzacon, a murder mystery within the city's fortress that uncovers a sinister Thule plot. Then, darkness forged in a forgotten... Oh, no, sorry. Like I said, the font is pretty small. I missed a sentence there. Then darkness descends into a newly discovered abyss to confront the monstrous occultics forged in a forgotten ethnic laboratory. The horror escalates in terror, a desperate hunt through the sewers to stop the Thule from annihilating a city in Netherfire cataclysm. Finally, madness unleashes a corruptive plague, forcing a final confrontation to save the city from insanity itself. So these adventures run levels 6 through 11. Now, I do know that we've got another adventure collection. I believe it is going to be first level. We'll find out. We'll find out when we get into it. All right. So let's open this up. I think, now I could be wrong here. Oh, right there. I was going to say, I thought these adventures appear at Gen Con. That's why they're called Genzacon. So it says this is exclusive limited edition for Gen Con 2024. All right. Looks like we've got these all shrink wrapped. So this is madness. That is terror. That's kind of creepy looking. That is darkness. These were all for 2024. No, this one was 25. There you go. I always like when we've got exclusives for Gen Con, or I mean, even Origins or something like that. We don't see convention exclusives at game conventions like we do for, you know, like comic conventions or toy conventions, stuff like that. All right. So Shadows is the opener. Kevin R. Smith says it's up to 12 likes. Likes don't update unless you refresh the page. That's fine. I didn't expect this to be a big show tonight. It's Thanksgiving week. A lot of people aren't familiar with Gooey Cube either, which is one of the reasons why we're taking a look at a bunch of goodies that Lawrence McNabb from Gooey Cube was kind enough to provide me with when I went, think, get that out of the way. I was going to say, Lawrence provided me with these at Gamehole Con. All right, so here's a read this first. Okay, so here's our adventure. I was just looking to see if it's saddle stitched. It is not. It's stapled, which is fine. So we've got what looks like the adventure, a reference book, maps and handouts. I was really impressed with these, with the Darkenhaven. Lots of handouts. We've got NPC cheat sheets. We got NPC cards. So this looks very similar to the Darkenhaven box set, except we've got adventures as opposed to the setting book. All right, let's take a peek. Spelling Mistake says they always see the Gooey Cube events at Gen Con, but the price is too high. Well, this box set here is $150. I got to be honest, I don't know if they actually sell the PDFs because I have not encountered that. I don't think there's any Gooey Cube that's up on Drive-Thru RPG, or, you know, I got to be honest, I didn't look at Dungeon Masters Guild, but usually, if it's on drive-through, it's on DM's Guild. And if it's not on DM's Guild, it's not on drive-through either. All right. So here is our credits page. Let's give credit where credit is due. Spelling Mistake says, oh, not the books, the tickets to play in their events at Gen Con. Yeah, I could see that. It was kind of funny because it wasn't the events at Gamehole Con for Gooey Cube. I didn't actually really notice any. I'm sure there were some, but I had kind of noticed that too when I was looking at events for Gamehole Con, because I thought, oh, well, maybe I'll hop into a couple. And they were like $8 and $10. I was like, really? Like, nah, that's fine. All right. So this adventure is dedicated to the many wonderful and committed people who make Gen Con the amazing convention that it is. This magnificent gathering of gamers. You're a magnificent bastard. This magnificent gathering of gamers is truly one of the greatest treasures that the gaming community has. So we've got our adventure overview. Dark places breed darker plots. Welcome, Game Master. In your hands, you hold an adventure which provides a most intriguing set of problems for your players. Indeed, foul schemes are afoot, and those at the table are encouraged to use their reasoning and insight to uncover a terrible plot set in place by shadowy actors who wish all involved nothing but ill. Using this adventure, you'll weave a tapestry of intrigue and deception, misleading from the true villains of the story and casting doubt on more than a few of the innocent NPCs in the adventure. There are also a few red herrings for your players to chase and layers of mysteries to solve. Never fear, however, there's also plenty of action, battles to let the PCs exercise their combat abilities, and certain vile characters who richly deserve to be beaten. All right. So, spoilers ahead. It says, lastly, this is a mystery adventure. There are many discoveries to be made. Please be sure to read the Bringing the Mystery section below. This will help you truly bring the tale to life for both you and your players. So, in the Game Master notes, we got some background. Okay, so I'm going to start skipping some pages here. If you're curious about the production quality so far, all right, so this is stapled. So this is not saddle stitched, but I will say that this paper stock is really nice. It is far, far heavier than I was expecting for a stapled book. Nice. So I'm going to take a guess. The bolded is our read aloud. That's the case, man. That's a ton of read aloud. Yeah, because it's showing like an eye. Huh. Okay. It is kind of interesting. It's showing us facts that these NPCs know. So Genzacon is a keep. Well, no, I think Genzacon's a city. Genzacon Keep would be a citadel. Or keep. Yeah, this is the read aloud. I mean, here it's not so bad because now we're getting to like a paragraph. But yeah, those earlier pages is like, uh-oh. So we talk about that all the time. You start busting out a page of read aloud on your players. Get ready for the phones to start coming out. Wallona's Cave is joining us tonight. Good to see you, Wallona's Cave. So it appears that our reference book is going to have our monster stats. That's kind of cool. So we have these keyed locations, it looks like. So the third story key. Because I noticed we have 3-digit numbers. Oh, no. Maybe that's, I thought that was a 3-5. I think it's a 3S. I think that's 3S8 for the closet. 3S9. I thought it was 35-9 because I'm like, why do we have 3-digit numbers and we have 4-digit numbers? Now I see what it is. So it's third story 16. Got it. Hey, what can I tell you? I'm as bright as a small appliance bulb, okay? So we get some images here of handouts, kind of giving you an idea of when to share it with your players. You have events and happenings. And wrapping up the case. Level up your game mastering with Gooey Cube. So this is the GM reference book. Let's see what we've got in here. So not so random encounters table, battle stats table, reference sheets. We've got our important NPCs, the big picture, monsters and nemesis, rumors and clues, special items and NSMTs. And then we've got our appendix includes new spells. It says, why use not so random encounters? The philosophy of Gooey Cube is that everything in our products exists to help the GM tell their best story and immerse their players in a gripping tale. To that end, we do not employ random tables. Indeed, we believe that encounters and events that GMs put into their tales should support the narrative, heighten suspense, and enrich the game world. NSREs come in 3 forms: lethal, non-lethal, and gooey editions. Lethal, or where is it? Lethal, non-lethal. Okay, so lethal and non-lethal NSREs aren't always required additions to the adventure, even if some are strongly recommended. In either case, they are self-contained enough to give you significant leeway in deciding when and where you want to include them. Though we do include some recommendations for some good, not so random encounter opportunities. W4 says, no random tables, that's anti-OSR. I got to point out, if you have seen me on other programs, I have said I am not a massive fan of random tables. And yes, I get it. It is, a tenet of OSR with random tables. Now, using random tables to kind of give your characters names or give your characters backstory, those kind of things, I'm all for that. Using random tables to give a game master some inspiration, I'm all for that. Running a game based on what pops up on random tables, I am not a fan of, because then your adventure is just random. Plus, you got to keep in mind, I have spent decades running Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu, the vast majority of adventures do not have any sort of random encounters taking place. There might be some randomness, but they aren't random encounters. So these are different NSREs based upon the act. This looks like this is our bestiary. The final battle. So as an example, we've got the runaway smuggler. Kind of surprised we don't have any images unless we have a handout for them. Maybe not. Here we have our major players. A lot of times with the character artwork we see with Gooey Cube when we were looking at the Drakenhaven or Dark. Why do I keep wanting to say Drakenheim? The Darkenhaven box set. I kind of had the impression that a lot of the NPC art was built off of like backer kit or Kickstarter backers. So here we've got the big picture. This is what's going on. Okay. Let's take a quick peek here. Now remember, I already pointed out there's going to be spoilers. But at this point, we really know nothing about this adventure outside of it's supposed to be a mystery. And it's taking place at Genzacon Keep. And I think the Thule or Thule are behind it. The adventure begins with the murder of one of the advisors of Genzacon Citadel, an older human named, not even going to try to pronounce that. But there were goings-on prior to murder, just not ones that caused the leadership of the Citadel to believe they had a problem. So it looks as if there is some sort of a drug involved in this adventure. We got monsters and nemesis, rumors and clues. Cool. Oh, our new spells. Just jumped past those real quick. That looks pretty cool. All right, we're not, like I said, we're not going to look at all of the handouts here. We'll look at some of this stuff. So these are maps. Ta-da! See right there. So I'm going to take a guess that these are, yeah, those would fit in there. They are single-sided. So here's the ground level. That's a player map. Oh, cool. Oh, very nice. So we get a player map. We also get our GM map. Nice. W4 Jazz, what's the binding on the adventures? It is not saddle stitched. It's stapled. But the paper quality is excellent. Really, really nice. Paper quality is thicker than by quite a bit over the old 5e Wizards of the Coast Adventures books. All right. So got quite a lot of those. And then we got some handouts here. I'll try to keep these in order. These are just to give the player characters an idea to visualize things. We saw that with the Darkenhaven as well. So here's some items. The jewel dagger, the vial. Sean Meyer says, Wizards of the Coast paper stock's flimsy as all heck. Yes. It's gotten a little bit better, but it is still, it's certainly not anywhere in the ballpark of like Free League Publishing. NPC cheat sheets. Here we've got our character cards. And you're going to punch these out. They were already cut in the other one that we saw. But I can see why they didn't with this box set. Because if you actually had decks of these cards, you'd never fit all this stuff into this box. All right. I got to say, from what we've seen of Gooey Cube to this point, it's really impressive. Now, of course, I have not started to dig in for some reviews in that yet, but that is on the horizon. I do like how we've got the GM and the player maps, and these have nice detail to them as well. Okay. So we would have the handouts, the maps, the cards. We've got the adventure, and then we have the reference book. And I'm going to guess that this is pretty much going to be par for the course for each of these adventures. So actually, I'm just going to put this back into this box so everything doesn't go sliding all over the place, because that's what it's ready to do. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, Darkness and Genzacons, our next one. Oh, we got a synopsis on the back here. Cool. The call goes out for brave adventurers to return to the great citadel of Genzacon. A strange passageway descending into the unknown reaches below has been discovered beneath the fortress. It is unknown whether it leads to forgotten relics or might provide dangerously unguarded access to Genzacon, but in either case, finding out will be anything but straightforward. Tasked with following the well passage to its end, you'll need to contend with ancient magics gone awry, potent guardians eager for battle, and a series of enigmatic locks. Yep, there you go. For a second, it looked like it said looks. I was like, what? Locks that bar your way. Yet, even if you manage to reach the bottom, you may well find a horror that the world wishes had remained buried. Agile Monk says Gooey Cube is like an even more value-added version of Beetle and Grimm's, where they make such great products. Beetles and Grimm stuff is cool. Very pricey. You might recall I shared coverage of their Absalom release for Pathfinder that I think the box set with the maps with in the tube, I think it was like $400 or something. I mean, it was very cool. I mean, there were even wooden coasters for drinks in it. I was like, what? With a coaster holder. I was like, okay. So I thought it was really nicely done, but yeah, pricing wise, yikes. And I guess they didn't care for my coverage because I never heard from them again. So, okay. An intriguing and fearful immersive experience adventure for characters levels 7 to 10. Actually, this is quite a bit shorter than that first one. And this is a bit shorter as well. So we got our adventure handouts, although it looks like we've got quite a lot of those once again. All right. So here's the adventure. And our credits page. This is the Occultics. Actually, if you happen to follow the community here on YouTube, this was the image I shared when I was announcing what today's show was about. W. Ford says, Beatles and Grimm only do fancy D&D reprints, right? Well, I don't know if they still do Pathfinder or not. I know the Epsilon box set was like their first, like, dipping their toes into it. But they, you know what I just saw? I just saw advertisements for like class boards for Dungeons and Dragons. So if you remember when we were taking a peek at the starter set, that starter box set, where we had the class boards and you had areas where you'd put cards for your, you know, your abilities, your feats and stuff and your spells. So they're releasing a set of those. So Agile Monk says, yep, they still do some Pathfinder 2e. So here is our adventure overview. The story expressed in Darkness in Genzacon is a bit more straightforward than the first adventure in this series was. Indeed, in that adventure, entitled Shadows in Genzacon, the party was confronted with a fairly significant set of mysteries that they needed to solve. In this module, however, there will be less mystery and more martial combat, as there is a dungeon to crawl. To be sure, there will still be a number of consternating circumstances that you may bring forth for your PCs, but they should sharpen their swords and ready their spells, for the mystery that began in the first adventure is now expanding to an even more dangerous series of foes. That said, as with virtually all of our adventures, roleplay, problem solving, and mystery will also be found within the tale. So fear not if your party is bent more in those directions. There'll be much for them to enjoy, to be sure. Good. So something else I should mention, as No Limelight Productions is with us in chat. I noticed that the title of it keeps escaping me. It's not out yet. I think it was the last crowdfunding project that Gooey Cube did. And it's a bit of an homage to Gary Gygax, because it's something like Tomb of something like Gygaxian or something along those lines. I think it is Tomb of something. So it is, they have it for 5e. They also have one statted for Old School Essentials. And I also had noticed there's another release. I don't know if it's related to that Gygax, the Tomb release, but I did notice, because I was looking for the MSRP on this bundle, and it was also for Old School Essentials. So what I'm probably going to do is I am going to reach out to my contact, Lawrence McNabb, over at Gooey Cube, and see if we might have an opportunity to take a peek at the OSE editions of these new releases coming out, because I think that would be very, very cool. I should also mention, as I've taken a peek through, at least to this point with this bundle, as well as the city setting we took a peek at before, this isn't like entrenched in Dungeons and Dragons mechanics. There is a lot that could be just easily converted over to another of the different OSR, or I mean, not Pathfinder 2nd edition, because it's just the 3-action economy really sets that apart. But Tales of the Valiant, it's super easy port. Other D20, I would think, would be really easy. Even like Castles and Crusades. So very nice. Very cool. So that is our adventure booklet. Like I said, it was quite a bit shorter. Well, we got about 20 pages. Yeah, 20. There you go. And then we've got our reference book. So Agile Monk says, Lawrence is a great guy and a fantastic sense of humor. I didn't really kid around with him much, but I usually, what first meet somebody from a company, I'm pretty straightforward. Now, if it's somebody I know, I'm always goofing off. There we go. The Tomb of Gax, which I could have swore Gooey Cube teamed up with Gaxworks, or one of the Luke Gygax companies. Here we go. Here's our not so random encounters again. Discussing that. Battle stats. As all the encounters and events in the adventure have potential to involve combat that are included here, including the NSREs. The encounters are shown with full complement of the enemy statistics included. Simply flip to the page number in this section as noted in the encounter info box shown with each encounter in the adventure book or GM reference. Everything you need to run the encounter, including treasure and rewards, may be found there. So you've got the Metal Manticore encounter, the Iron Crows, the Metal Wyvern. Battle stats for allies. Allies and acquaintances. Got our monsters and nemesis again. Yes, so Agile Monk points out that they teamed with Luke to create it. Luke's one of the characters in it. I just saw Luke Gygax had taken part in some big Call of Cthulhu event that I want to say was held at Jeff Richards' house. Jeff Richard from Chaosium, because I follow both of them on Facebook. And I thought that was pretty wild. Nice to see Luke play stuff other than just D&D. All right, so here we got our handouts again. So, oh, that's very cool. I like that a lot. This is the Gloom port. All right, so once again, we're getting some POVs here. Actually, quite a few of them. I think this is such a nice bonus. I think that's so cool. So, yeah, drop it out in front of your, giving them the description, drop it out in front of them. I'll tell you one thing, though, it'll spoil them. So good luck running something that's not Gooey Cube after these. Speaking of, it's like a big Gooey Cube right there. Right. So these are some maps. Twisting passages. So we've got our NPCs again. These are character portraits. And I'll take a guess we're going to have some magic items too. Yep. There you go. And then rewards. We've seen these before. I don't think I saw any in the other adventure. So 1 hero point, permanent hit points, burst of speed. All right. So there we have a peek at the darkness in Genzacon. Got 2 more adventures left. Maybe we'll do a longer show. I mean, it's the only show for the week. Why not? Right? I'm not in any great hurry at the moment. Okay, so this one's pretty big. So is this one. So the darkness was not par for the course. It was an exception to the rule, I guess. Because our first one was pretty thick as well. Terror in Genzacon. So now we're at levels 8 to 11. Dirthag? Let's say Dirthag. Watch through blackened eyes as he, oh, jeez, why does it always have to be, come on, creators, remember, people have to read this stuff, pronounce this stuff out loud. Watch through blackened eyes as the Shadragrim dragged another struggling victim forward. He could scarcely believe the vile creatures were descended from his kin. So twisted in mind and body had these dwarves become. They seemed nearly as unnatural as their Thulic masters. He spat as he passed, but his mouth was so bloodied, only a crimson dribble ran down his chin, and they took no notice. So, giving us a little bit of info there. Here's our synopsis. There's no rest for the wicked, or at least for the adventurers who answer the summons to Genzacon Citadel to thwart them. A chance discovery has uncovered a plot to unleash a devastating magical conflagration, one that would not merely destroy the castle, but the whole of the Gloomport. And with such calamitous forces in play, the explosion would likely collapse the sea cave upon which the city of Darkenhaven rests. So this all ties into Darkenhaven. Nice. Agile Monk said Luke likes Daggerheart and Castles and Crusades and plays them, but AD&D is his fave. Yeah, I think it's usually AD&D that he runs at like GaryCon and stuff like that. Should this horrific event come to pass, hundreds of thousands of souls would undoubtedly perish. The shadowy forces behind this terrifying plot appear to be one that has threatened Genzacon Citadel before. Indeed, the Thule are preparing a ritual in the sewers near the castle, and the city needs an intrepid band to locate their corrupted devices and put a stop to their nefarious plan before it's too late. Agile Monk said, oh, they meant Shadow Dark, not Daggerheart. Yeah, I was kind of curious about that one. I was like, a little surprised by that. But yes, you know what? I think he was running a Shadow Dark, maybe he was playing in a Shadow Dark that adventure that Kelsey was running at Founders and Legends last year. All right, so this adventure booklet is quite a bit thicker. There's a reference book and our adventure handouts. There's a nice friendly image for you there, right? Come on, quit sliding out there. There you go. Try to get it off camera there. We got about, I'm going to take a guess, 32 pages. 32 pages. That's good stab in the dark, I have to admit. All right, let's get in credits page. Giving credit where credit is due. Okay, so we get a dedication. Looks like an inn. The tale you are about to experience, okay, hang on. The tale that you are soon to experience in Terror in Genzacon is very much a horror story. Oh, there we go. It builds on the previous two adventures, Shadows in Genzacon and The Darkness in Genzacon, but it can easily be played as a standalone adventure if you prefer to run it on its own. The tale is replete with more than a bit of intrigue and mystery, a number of interesting characters to interact with, and a fearsome group of adversaries that need to be dealt with. Terror in Genzacon is somewhat balanced in terms of the various aspects of the game that will be brought forth. Most certainly, there is roleplay, problem solving, and mystery to be found within, but there are also a number of significant and potentially deadly combats that your PCs will need to be ready for. As with the previous chapters in the series, this tale is intended for a group of true heroes who are inclined to deal more aggressively with those who choose to harm innocent people and cause chaos and destruction. So my gang, would be right in the thick of it. They are far, far from evil characters, that is for certain. It says, alternatively, if your PCs are more bent towards doing such things themselves, you will likely need to adjust a bit to help make the adventure work for your more unscrupulous party. All right. Okay. So we got our Game Master notes. I will say, I do appreciate the way that these are written. They're not super dry. I mean, they're not overly conversational either. But like Game Master notes, what secrets do you keep, oh master of the game? I think that's kind of funny. All right. So talking about our handouts, supporting material, important NPCs. That's kind of cool. The looming threat. This sale will commence in much the same fashion as the previous ones, with the party in the Gloomport and likely on their way to Genzacon Citadel to meet with Wazacost. How they arrive there will depend on the manner in which you planted the seeds for the adventure, of course. When the PCs are ready to begin, read or paraphrase the following and provide handout 3, Genzacon Citadel, at the appropriate time. As was noted earlier, this is also a good time to provide your players with handout 1, Darkenhaven City, and handout 2, the Gloomport. Though both of these are offered mostly for giving the players the feel of the location. You can also provide map 1, Dravenstown Environs. That's a lot of read aloud. I gotta be honest. Lots of read aloud there. Setting the stage. Is this the one that's the plague adventure? It might be. We have the Gravenstown sewers. What is that horrid stench? Jeez, Argus, did you fart? The sewers beneath the Gloomport are quite extensive. Many areas date back to the days of the Aetherns and have been expanded and augmented as the population of the Dun Harbor grew in the later centuries. Beyond this, they contain connections to caverns, ancient catacombs, and dungeon grottos, some even providing access to the upper Zandun. This makes the sewers in some ways almost a city unto itself. Indeed, many nefarious groups use the fetid passages to hide out, produce narchums, or I think it's narcams, because remember, I think there was a drug that was in the first adventure. And other terrifying substances. Imprisoned victims conduct horrific rituals and travel around without being observed. These are typically brutal gangs and vile cultists, but there are other evil doers who may be found in the sewers as well. It looks like got a bit of a sewer delve here. Nice. Looks like quite a few locations. There are these parasites, which were mentioned in prior adventures too. Huh. All right. That's cool. I like that. So that is our adventure. Here's our reference. So we got our not so random encounters again. And we got all our stat blocks for each of those encounters. So I also noticed that in each of the encounters, we have difficulty modifiers. So you can kind of change these. You can adjust these depending on the level of your party. So you also see what are the actions that they're going to take, or what actions are available to them, what they own. So we've got possessions. Of course, we got all our relevant attributes and stuff like that. It's like quite a lot of combat going on here. Quite a few encounters. Then we've got our movers and shakers, the major players, guards and staff, monsters and nemesis. Looks like we might have a rumor table. Yep. Rumors and lore. Special items and not so mundane things. Cool. All right. And then we have some new spells too. So quite a bit more in this third adventure than we saw in the second adventure. Okay, real quickly, we'll take a look at some of these handouts. Once again, I have used that as the thumbnail for our first look at the Darkened Haven city. So let's recognize that right away. So once again, we get some POVs. The monstrous sewer sludge. These are the Shagdrim, or however it was pronounced when I was taking a look at the back, and I was like, oh, come on. Don't they realize people have to pronounce this stuff out loud? They look like they're some sort of relation to the dwarves. So here we've got handouts. Now we get our maps. So you figure this special edition box set is $150. You're getting 4 adventures in the box set. 3 of them are pretty packed with stuff. Now, the second adventure just was a little bit shorter, that's all. So here's our items. Here's some rewards that we get. And we got our character portraits again. There we go. So in essence, you are looking at, well, what? About $38 per adventure. I don't think that's bad for what we're getting. Okay, so as an example, like I said, because you can buy these separate, or at least you could at Gen Con. I would say for $38, that's a pretty good deal. Now, it all depends on just, how in-depth the adventures are. I mean, I would hope that you're going to get quite a few sessions of play out of them to get, your money's worth. It'd be kind of silly to have all that stuff. And then it's like, oh, well, yeah, well, we could finish that adventure up in 3 sessions. You'd be like, what? All right. So this is the finale. This came out this year. So the previous 3 came out at last year's Gen Con. And that's kind of funny. So I had shrink wrap on that, and now shrink wrap. It's actually torn a little bit already, I think. Yep. Okay. So This has more of a traditional cover for a D&D adventure. That's kind of what I'm used to seeing, that sort of like action, layout there. The one where the thing is like pulling at the guy's face that we just looked at. I was like, oh yeah, that's a little different. It's a little different sort of cover for a D&D adventure. Right, so we've got a reference book. We got our adventure. This actually feels like this might be the thickest of all of them. So that might be about 36 pages. I mean, it might turn out to be 32 again. Let me get those out of the way. Okay, that's the reference. All right, you know what we're going to do. We're going to take a peek. Let's get that out of the way. We're going to take a peek at the credits page. I will say this paper stock here feels a little lighter than in the other three. Not bad, though. I'm not implying that it's no good. 40 pages. There we go. All right. So this is where we have our finale. This adventure follows on from Shadows in Genzacon, Darkness in Genzacon, and Terror in Genzacon. Yet it can be run independently with some minor adjustments to the introduction, with those changes largely being that Commander Wezakost will contract with a party that he has not worked with before. This should only modestly affect some aspects of the read aloud sections, as well as how the NPCs treat the party. Parties who have played the previous adventures will receive more warmth and engagement, while those parties who are meeting the staff of Genzacon Citadel for the first time will be treated with a higher degree of formality and inquiry as to their experience. Your players will soon find themselves in a life or death race against time as a magical, corruption-fueled sickness infests the Gloomport. Okay, so this is the one with the plague. Ravenclaw 74 is with us. Wait, you mean the adventurers on the cover who are not having tea or picking strawberries? Well, yeah, those. Is there an adventure? Is there a WotC adventure or book that's got them picking strawberries? I mean, on the cover. We all know about the cross buns and things like that, but hey, I've never claimed to be a fan of the new Dungeons and Dragons artwork by any stretch. I mean, I've seen some pieces that were cool, more so in the monster manual than anywhere else. But yeah, there's a lot of just, oh, we're sitting around. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a piece of artwork show up where there's like 6 people all gathered and they're all on their, cell phones, texting each other while they're sitting next to them. All right. The energy within the Netherstone that players encountered in Terror in Genzacon has been siphoned away by a power-hungry Thule named, Vythers. He has used the Cruxic magic to penetrate the metaphysical crystalline barrier surrounding a confluence of the Everflow, which has resulted in a localized corrupting of the flows of magic. The Viviflow, Prismaflow, and Umbraflow. As a result, this corrupted confluence has infected an underground source of water that serves much of the Gloomport with a Cruxic taint. Some people have become sickened. Some have died. Some have become twisted into monsters, which are at times so overloaded with the power of the Nether that they spontaneously combust. The adventurers here to kick ass, drink tea, and pick strawberries, and they're all out of tea and strawberry plants, says W. Forge. Ravenclaw 74 says, too many slice of life pictures. Weirdly enough, though, it seems as if more modern players are far more interested in role-playing the slice of life downtime aspects of role-playing games than, some of us grown-yards. Most of us grown-yards. So, yes. I mean, downtime role-playing that doesn't bother me at all. I like to see, a little interaction with the characters when it's not just, we're exploring or we're on a mission or going on a dungeon delve or, we're investigating the haunted house. I dig that. Do I want an entire session based upon it? Absolutely not. So, all right. So this is where it all comes together. So we have the threefold flame ritual. Will the flames cleanse the everflow? It's our only hope. Right there with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Journey to Sorrow's Deep. The hunt for the source. Plague, crazed psychopaths, criminals. Sounds fun. Mike enjoyed the movie reference to They Live. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. I liked Rowdy Piper. I know, most of his routine was a shtick. Although I do think he was kind of an asshole in some ways. But I always liked him. I got to check out Terror Comes to Frogtown or something like that. I think there's a couple of movies where, he's the hero in them. They're supposed to be like low budget, almost like Roger Corman flicks. Hell Comes to Frogtown. Thank you, Ravenclaw. Yeah. So, I'll have to take a peek. I'm sure I could track him down someplace. Maybe even on YouTube. All right. So it looks like quite a bit going on here. The giant plagued toads. All right. And then we have Ending the Tale. I like how this is taking place, at least from what we can see, just from taking a quick peek, that this is taking place in Darkenhaven or in the area of or underneath Darkenhaven. Because then, if you get that city set like I shared, you can put it to some good use as well, tying into these. All right. So that was the adventure. Here is the reference book. More credits here. So we got our NSREs again. I like it. Is this like other Gooey Cube games? It's like an introduction here. It says, yes, just like our flagship campaign, Red Star Rising, this adventure is designed intuitively and contains everything you as the GM could possibly need. Nice. So we've got our not so random encounters on the streets of Gloomport. We got our battle stats. So this is all of our encounters that take place. And it does look as if that some of these encounters may not necessarily end up becoming combat encounters, but just in case this information is made available to you. Here we've got our movers and shakers again. Monsters and nemesis. Rumors and lore. Not so mundane items. Any spells? No, I don't think so. Nope. No new spells. Oh, yeah, here we go. But they're Truxic spells. So it looks like they would be for evil casters. And let me see something here. Red Star Rising. I think I've got the box set that's like the first part of it, which I believe might actually start at first level. Because remember, this box set, these are all adventures from 6th through 11th. I should also mention that each of these have a digital download for them. Here's our adventure handouts. Again, we'll take a peek. Here's our Genzacon Citadel map. So it looks as if this is kind of zoomed in from one of the other maps. I think this was on one of the maps before. That's cool. So we've seen some of these. Some handouts here, and then it looks like this is the beginning of some of the newer art. This is the Riddle Wraiths. There's a good number of these. Got the Plague Warped Prisoners. There you go. That looks pretty Lovecrafty in there. Was it a Plagued Fighting Koi? It's kind of funny. Then we start getting into our maps. This is the GM's map for the sewers, and then we got the player's map. And we're going to get into our character portraits. Quite a few of them here. Some of them we've already seen before. And then we've got our items, our rewards. Oh, sweet. All right, let me put these all back together then. So we've got all the handouts. We've got the GM reference, and then we also have the adventure itself. And that is what we find inside the Genzacon Adventure Bundle Special Edition from Gooey Cube. This is for 5e Dungeons and Dragons. This box set is available now. It carries an MSRP of $150. In fact, now let me take a quick peek. Do I have? Yep. Close enough. So yes, I do have the first part of the Red Star Rising campaign. So this is the smallest of the box sets that I received. And trying to see if we have a level indicator here. I don't think so. It's kind of weird. It's telling us what's inside this box. Is it on the front? No, I don't see it. I don't see an indication of what level the characters are. Oh, wait. No, I just found it. It was underneath this piece of artwork. I'm looking here. Right? I'm like, okay, so where's it going to tell us? It is for first level characters. Yay. We're going to take a look at this next week. We will dive in. We will take a peek at this because I really do think quite a few people have checked out well, now it's 2 Gooey Cube videos I've done, are probably interested. And they're like, wow, that's a really cool presentation. I really like what they're doing. but they're also like higher level. So this is the entry point. Nice. Very, very cool. So yes, we will take a peek at that sometime next week. As I had pointed out before, there are going to be videos the rest of the week. This is the only live stream for the week because of Thanksgiving here in the U.S. So keep that in mind. And of course, I am going to roll out I guess we're still in fall, so I guess it's going to be the fall used game sale. If you are a Patreon member, you're going to have dibs on the sale items for the first week. After that, it's going to open up to our Discord server members, as well as, you know, the Patreon members. And then week 3, I'll open it up to everybody and run it all told for a month. So stay tuned for that. I will share that on the Patreon probably like Friday morning. I'll have the link out to it. All righty. That is it for this time out. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, an even bigger thank you, because not only are you keeping me company, you're keeping each other company as I'm flipping through all those various different adventures and handouts and stuff like that, or talking about the latest in tabletop role-playing game news. So thank you for doing that. Of course, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out to watch any of the over 2,300 videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you like the video, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it's not only supposed to inform you when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It's also supposed to let you know when I share other videos, such as this past weekend's Dolan Wood Weekend, where I took a peek at the Player's Book, Campaign Book, and Monster Book for Dolmenwood from Necrotic Gnome and Exalted Funeral. Everybody out there, if you're here in the U.S., have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Stay safe. I know the weather is supposed to turn in a lot of places out there, so be very careful if you're traveling to visit friends and family. If you are someplace that doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving, even here in the United States, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. And of course, I will be back a week from tonight. All right, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.